Leaders. Now, I'm sure that's a word that's been tossed around you and at you quite a bit over the past few hours, days, weeks, and years. Leaders of tomorrow, leaders of today. But what does it mean? What attributes does a 21st century leader need to have? What do people need most from their leaders today and tomorrow? Now, I think you need to be brave, really brave. And I know when you think of courageous leaders, you think of those folks who stood implacably and fearlessly anchored in their sense of rightness, willing to pit their ideas against all comers, against the slings and arrows aimed their way. Well, I don't think that's brave enough. I don't think that's good enough for what our shared future will ask of you. I actually don't think it's ever been good enough. See, let me tell you a bit about Wilfrid Laurier, a promising young lawyer at the end of the 19th century who would go on to become my second favorite prime minister. He was raised and educated as a proud Catholic French Canadian, an exemplary representative of one side of the two identities that had come together to found Canada just a few decades before. The two solitudes, the other half being English-speaking Protestant and fiercely loyal to the British Crown, accommodated each other, cooperated together, and generally put up with each other to build our country, but still felt all too well the divisions and fault lines that had led them through almost a millennium of tensions and wars between English and French. It was impressed upon young Wilfrid by his teachers and elders that he must stand up unflinchingly for the values and the identity of his heritage, those beliefs and approaches that were his birthright and would be his legacy. That, they told him, was leadership. But Wilfrid grew to believe otherwise. He realized that it's actually easy to stand fixed, rooted in the conviction that you are right, and either wait for others to come to you or wait for your chance to impose your rightness on others. He saw that it's actually harder to seek compromise, to dig deep into yourself, your ideas and convictions, honestly and rigorously, to see where you can give and where you do need to stand, while opening yourself up to the other point of view to seek out and find that common ground. And that remains Wilfrid Laurier's political legacy more than 100 years later. To let yourself be vulnerable to another point of view, that's what takes true courage. To open yourself to another's convictions and risk being convinced, a little or a lot, of the validity of their perspective. Now that's scary. Discovering that someone you vehemently disagree with might have a point, might even be right. But it shouldn't be scary or threatening, particularly to all of you who have worked so hard these past years to pursue truth, to learn, to grow. Being open to others is what has gradually led Canadians to the understanding that differences can and must be a source of strength, not of weakness. And I say, gradually.